At our wedding, my wife raised her glass and said, "This dance is for the man I've secretly loved for 10 years." She walked past me and stopped in front of my brother. The room applauded until I asked my father one question. Then my wife went pale and my brother collapsed. I, 34 male, project manager, oldest son in a family where keeping the peace mattered more than telling the truth. I'm the dependable one, the guy who plans ahead, pays bills early, remembers birthdays, and smooths things over so nobody else has to feel uncomfortable. I never thought of that as a weakness. Turns out, it made me convenient. Our wedding wasn't flashy. Mid-range hotel ballroom, rented chairs, white lights, standard stuff. Big enough to feel important, modest enough to not look like we were trying too hard. My wife wanted it that way. She said simple felt more us. I believed her. Her father had passed years earlier, so my father walked her down the aisle. I remember noticing how tightly she held his arm. At the time, I thought she was nervous. Looking back, that grip felt more like anchoring herself. My brother sat front row, younger than me by 3 years. Loud, charming, always forgiven first. He wore a tailored suit I helped pay for because he was between jobs again. He gave me a little wink when I reached the altar, same one he'd used our whole lives whenever he got away with something. The ceremony itself went fine, smooth. Vows memorized, rings on, applause on cue. When we kissed, everyone cheered. Cameras flashed. Someone yelled, "Finally!" I remember thinking, okay, this is it. Everything before this was worth it. The reception followed the usual rhythm. Food, clinking glasses, small talk. My mother cried during her toast. My father talked about family, legacy, and how proud he was of both his sons. That line stuck with me, not because it was wrong, but because my wife didn't look at me when he said it. She was watching my brother instead, smiling in that distracted way people do when their attention is somewhere else. Then the DJ announced the first dance. We stood up, applause again. I reached for her hand. She stepped past me and took the microphone instead. That pause, those few seconds of silence, still play back in my head sometimes. "I just want to say something before we dance," she said, smiling like she'd rehearsed it. "This moment means everything to me, and this dance is for the man I've secretly loved for 10 years." People laughed, the light, harmless kind. Everyone assumed it was a joke, some cute twist before she turned back to me. She didn't. She walked right past me, heels clicking, slow and deliberate, straight toward my brother. She stopped in front of him. The room exploded. Applause, whistles. Someone said, "Wow." Phones came out immediately. My brother looked shocked but not confused, hands half raised like he didn't know whether to stand or sit. She reached for his hand. He took it. I stayed where I was, still smiling because my face hadn't caught up with reality yet. She turned back to the room. "I know this isn't traditional," she said, laughing lightly, "but love isn't always neat." That's when I leaned toward my father and asked one question, quietly, calmly. "Dad, how long have you known?" The room didn't hear me, but my wife did, my brother did. My father definitely did. My father's face changed instantly, not confusion, recognition. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at my wife, then at my brother. My brother went pale. His knees buckled. He grabbed the edge of the table and slid down, knocking over a chair. Glass shattered. People screamed. Someone yelled for help. The DJ killed the music. For a few seconds, everything was chaos. Paramedics were called. Someone said he fainted. Someone else said panic attack. My wife stood frozen, still holding the mic, mouth slightly open like the moment hadn't finished loading yet. My father sat down hard. I didn't move.
That's the part people ask me about later, how I stayed so calm. The truth is, when something you quietly suspected for years finally shows itself, calm is easy. It feels like confirmation, not surprise. Because this didn't start at the wedding. It started years earlier, when my brother borrowed money and never paid it back, when my wife defended him harder than she ever defended me, when conversation stopped when I entered the room, when inside jokes didn't include me, when my father kept telling me to be patient and not make things awkward. I noticed the pattern, I just didn't want to name it. The paramedics carried my brother out. He came to near the doors, eyes scanning the room immediately. When he saw me, his expression tightened. Not fear, annoyance, like I'd interrupted something. My wife followed for a few steps, then stopped and turned back to me. "This isn't how I wanted you to find out," she said quietly. I nodded. "That's usually how it works." She reached for my arm. I stepped back. People were watching now, not cheering anymore, just waiting. "We need to talk, privately." "We will. Tonight's already booked." She frowned. "You're being dramatic." I didn't argue. I turned toward the room and thanked everyone for coming. A few people clapped out of reflex. Most didn't know where to look. The reception ended early. I didn't go home with her that night. I went to a hotel across town, slept maybe 4 hours, woke up clearer than I had in years. The messages started by morning. My wife sent long explanations, how it wasn't planned, how feelings are complicated, how she thought I already knew, how she never meant to hurt me. My brother sent nothing. My mother asked me to be calm. My father asked to talk. I agreed to meet him, public place, diner, neutral ground. "How long?" I asked him. He stirred his coffee too much. "They were young." "That's not an answer." He sighed. "It started before you met her." "And you still encouraged the marriage?" He didn't deny it. He said he thought it would pass, that people make mistakes, that family forgives. I paid the check and stood up. You don't get to be surprised with what happens next. I filed for a divorce within the week. No drama, no social media, just paperwork. Here's where entitlement kicks in. My wife assumed I'd keep paying the mortgage because my name was on it, assumed she'd stay in the house, assumed I'd be too embarrassed to push back. The house was mine, bought years before marriage. She moved in early to build memories. Legally, it changed nothing. She got a formal notice to move out, 30 days. She accused me of cruelty. My brother tried a different approach. He showed up at my house unannounced. "We didn't plan for it to happen this way," he said. "You planned for it. You just didn't plan for consequences." He laughed. "You always think you're better than everyone else." "No," I said. "I'm just done fixing your messes." "Are you really going to tear the family apart over this? You did that. I'm just not covering it up." Then the dirty tricks started. My wife tried to claim partial ownership of the house based on contributions. Bank records shut that down fast. Someone anonymously contacted my workplace claiming I was unstable. HR investigated. Nothing stuck. My parents tried guilt. My mother cried. My father asked me to reconsider for the sake of peace. I stayed quiet and let the process move forward. During financial disclosures, something interesting came out. My wife,
Brother had been quietly moving money over the years. Not mine, but family funds my father controlled. Small amounts, spread out, long enough to look harmless. When confronted, my father froze. He'd signed off without asking questions. Trusted them. My brother lost his job after it came out he'd falsified documents to get time off for family emergencies that were actually trips with my wife. My wife's professional license came under review after inconsistencies showed up in sworn statements. I didn't chase revenge. I didn't have to. The truth did the work. The divorce finalized cleanly. No alimony, no property split. She left with what she brought in. My brother tried to apologize later. Not really. More like testing the door to see if it was unlocked. It wasn't. The family changed after that. Some people picked sides, others disappeared. Holidays got quieter. A year later, my brother moved away. My wife remarried fast. That didn't last. I kept the house, changed the locks, rebuilt slowly. Betrayal doesn't hurt because it's dramatic. It hurts because it's lazy, because people choose comfort over honesty and expect you to carry the weight. I didn't shout, I didn't threaten. I asked one question at the right moment and stopped protecting people from their own choices. If you made it this far, congrats. You've got more patience than most people in that ballroom. Stick around, because apparently my life has a habit of saving the biggest plot twists when the music cuts out. Subscribe to our channel if you want more stories like this.